Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? I'm Ken Ray, and I have the privilege of introducing this program. And today is a very special day for Fernandina Beach, Florida. We're going to talk about the Foar from home, but before we do that, we thought it would be really smart to introduce the Foar at home. And that's the lovely ladies in their lives. Okay? So I'm going to ask each one of them, when I call them up, to come up and have a seat. And we're going to give them a poster because this is an audience participation event. Those of you that are military veterans know that every branch of the military has a war chant. So they will have that card in front of them, and they're going to hold it up after I introduce their spouse or significant other. And on the count of 3, we need to hear you loud. It's going to be like a pep rally, if you can remember what high school was like. Okay? So the first one I'd like to introduce is Lulu Hupman. Welcome. You can have a seat wherever you wish. Second up is Katie Semino. Welcome, Katie.
Hi,
Good to see
how
you.
are you?
Fine. Next up is Ruth Maestre. Ruth has been behind most of these events, off-site, etc., but she's done a lot of this behind-the-scenes work, so this is what happens when it all comes together. And last but not least, we have Starla Hansen, but before I ask her to come up here, I want to tee it up because she is a distinct privilege of being a U.S. Air Force veteran. And if you'll stand right there for a minute, okay? We have a commemorative coin for her, thanking her for her service in the military and something to cherish forever. And we thank you, Starla, for your service. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. These guys were gone for 70 days. They left on November 26th of last year. Then they got on the Courageous December 12th of last year, leaving La Gomera in the Canary Islands. Then 51 days, 11 hours, 41 minutes later, they hit Antigua. So without going any further, we want to introduce the gentlemen, okay? So let's hear it for the Foar from home as I bring them up one at a time. Starting off with our United States Army veteran from the great state of Pennsylvania, Billy Semino. If you'll stand behind Katie. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Great. We're going to get better at that. Next up, United States Navy retired Senior Chief from the great state of Maryland, Hupman. 1, 2, 3. And next up, from the United States Marine Corps and from the state of New York, Brooklyn, New York, Paul Lohr. 1, 2, 3. And last but not least, our United States Air Force veteran from Chicago, Illinois, Cam Hansen. 1, 2, 3. Now, I want to give you a factoid if you haven't been watching social media, but Cam is in the record books for the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge. He's the only Air Force veteran that paddled and rowed across the Atlantic Ocean. I'm going to get back with you a little later, but I'm going to turn it over to the guys because you want to hear from them. Thank them for all they've done. They've really given Fernandina Beach a name on the map. And the beauty of this thing is they're all from out of state, but they have come together in Fernandina Beach, so it's our blessing to have them here. It really is. So thank you guys very much.
Hello, everyone. We are live streaming the event on the Facebook page, and if you were live streaming it from your phone, we would ask you to pause that and let your friends tune into the page because it's taking too much of the internet speed, so we're not getting it out. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. We're going to try to do a really quick, just a really quick improv. And I know Hup's going to be all over it.
Cam, you do cams. There you go.
Test 1, 2. There we go. Wow, I got a sexy voice.
Paul, I'm Paul. I am
Yeah.
Paul.
Just having a moment. Yeah. Oh, wait. Billy says I'm no Barry White. And I can tell you, I'm no Barry White. So we had Barry White out on the boat. Anyway, Hup is going to try to, Hup is going to play a song. But we are going to do a moment of silence. Yeah, that's it. If you could just hold it up there, Hup. Yeah. So we're going to do a moment of silence for about 20 seconds, and then Hup is going to hit the song. And I would really like for everybody still to remain with your eyes closed during the song and during the moment of silence. So the moment of silence is for every veteran in the United States, and we can even say around the world, that has taken their life for suicide. If you look at when we were out in the ocean, and a really hard fact is that if the days that we were out there, if the stats are true, we lost over 1,000 veterans. And if there's one message that you're going to take away that Cam has so eloquently always told everybody at every one of our presentations, that it doesn't matter if you remember Billy, Paul, or Hup, or Cam, or even this event, you should never forget that we are losing our sons, we are losing our daughters, we are losing grandfathers, uncles, nieces, every day to veteran suicide. So please don't forget that. So I'm asking you a favor, please, if you can, if you're okay with it, hold each other's hands and close your eyes for a moment. So you walk away from here today and you tell yourselves that 1,000 times you're not going to forget the message of veteran suicide, please. That is the way that you will honor and respect everything that's been done over the last 3.5 years. Thanks, everybody. All right. Now we'll move over to Kat. It's our time to talk. Yeah. You guys want to start with a question first, or just?
Oh, no, right. Yeah, like
ease them in?
Are we asking them questions?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. All right.
What's been going on in the world?
Yeah. And next on the mic is my man Cam.
We have some pre-written questions over here already, so.
Okay. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, let's start.
Yeah, actually, Billy just had a great observation. There's 3 boats that are still out in that ocean. There's two ladies that are actually dear to our heart. We have no idea how they came into our lives, but they came into our lives and they're there. One of them is Sonia, and the other one is Marina. They're from Switzerland, and they have this amazing, fabulous energy. So please, when you go back and you're gone today or whatever, shoot him a message. And then there's a gentleman, Owen.
A little bit of backstory on the two girls. When our boat came late, they were the first ones at the pier helping us do our stuff. So they were absolutely on it.
Yeah, amazing ladies. Yeah. Amazing ladies. And then there's Owen's rowing. He's rowing for children cancer. He's out there doing a solo. And then we have this dude that I know.
Owen backstory.
Oh, yeah,
Owen backstory. The day before he left, he slept on the boat and made his wife wait in the hotel room because he wanted to detach.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you.
And then, not to discount Cam and Hupp, we just didn't know, but at that moment, it was Billy and I when we were walking the boatyard, and we look at this skinny kid, and we're like, is this kid rowing, or was he like support, for the boat? You judge a book by its cover. And yeah, he had this shirt on, and it said, "Born to be Epic," and we're like, man, we want to talk to this dude. Yeah. And we did. And we went over there, and Billy just asked him a general question, like, hey, what kind of arsenal is it that you have that you're rowing this ocean? And he said, I really got nothing, man. I got the coordinates for Antigua. And seriously, I wrote that down as a quote because I was like, wow, that's pretty powerful. And he really said to Billy and I, he's like, I have not a piece of athletic spec in my body. I never played an athletic sport. I think he said this is his first time. Yeah. First athletic event. And so the shirt fit him well. So, yeah, please send some messages out to them because when the ladies text us or whenever we got on the BGAN, the satellite, one of the most uplifting things, and I could speak for all four of us on this, was the messages that we got back from everybody. When our wives text us or our wives called us on the sat phone, it was exhilarating. When we used the sat phone to call back on the island, believe it or not, so many people were getting joy out of that. But for us, it was an amazing amount of joy as well because, we got to listen to your voices. And that meant the world to us too. So there you go. So somebody started hitting us with a question. We just gave you the lead, and I know there's one out there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We have some questions that have already came in through Facebook. We're going to start with some easy ones. There's some hard ones on here too. So let's start off. Can you tell us about the night skies? A lot of people want to know how that was.
Absolutely incredible. Like, you could see the entire Milky Way. You could see the entire Milky Way from the boat. And the first night out, there was a meteor shower that actually lasted about 5 days. So every night between the moonrise and when it was
an odor on them. So yeah, right, Lou. So I brought odor eaters, because I didn't want to be that guy on the 51-day trek with the shoes. And just the other day, I was saying to Ruth, because my shoes were actually still in the Prius, and there was absolutely zero odor in the Prius. So I was really happy that I did a lot of good foot maintenance. But I really thought I was going to use all these odor eaters. So I had 8 of them. And if anybody needs a brand new set of odor eaters, I've got some for you. So.
All right, we're going to take to a more serious question now. It sounds like y'all are warmed up. During the row, did you ever feel like it was impossible to finish? What was that moment like? And how did you get through it? There is a follow-on question that during this row, what kept you going outside of the mission? So give you some options to answer.
All right. So I will tell you, I'll start off with it with absolutely zero arrogance at all. There was nothing that ever felt like that row was impossible. We knew. You know, what everybody doesn't remember, everybody says, oh, wow, you had this 50-day row. I'd like to remind everybody it's not a 50-day row. It was a 928-day row. We started back in October 1st, 2019. Please, nobody do the math, but it's somewhere close there. And every day that we stepped out, whether it would be on land, whether it was fundraising, whether it was developing the message, the narrative, or training, there was not a day that it wasn't, you know, that we didn't think it was impossible. I mean, we sat at a table with absolutely the four of us and said we're going to row across an ocean and we're going to drive awareness and make an impact in veteran suicide. And the only thing that was probably the biggest surprise to us, you know, and it answers the latter part of that question about keep us going beyond the mission. Well, you're all sitting here. Yeah. You know, the two things that we probably were not prepared for as a team was, one, going to so many different towns and cities and running into so many families that was impacted by veteran suicide. We were not prepared for that. And I don't think we'll ever be prepared for that. And then two, really is, you know, the ocean might have reshaped us, our resolve, and physically and mentally as men, but this community right here reshaped our hearts in a way that we never imagined.
I add to that, back to the question itself, the question itself, but I think the time on the water went quicker for us probably than it did for you guys here. You guys were, it seemed like just talking, you know, when I talked to Katie or whatever, it seemed like you guys like, oh my God. For us, it was just kind of routine and just, I think, so I might just be speaking for me, but the time on the water seemed to go a lot quicker than we had anticipated.
He's definitely speaking for him. No offense. Yeah, it did go faster than I thought, but I got stuck in the mindset of wanting to get home, and I mentally beat myself up because I just wanted to get back here. I wanted to get back here. And it should have just been, I just want to finish. I just want to finish. But either way, the hardest day of counting was when we got on the para anchor and went backwards. And we lost 16 hours, which is about a day. And it wasn't that bad. I got to snuggle with Paul for 7 hours, you know? That was kind of fun.
That was also sexy.
He's like, hey, Hup, are you holding my forearm?
It's like, yes,
whoa.
Yes, Paul. I'm touching your forearm because we can't not touch.
Paul's like, okay, it's kind of comfy. I go, all right, we're going butt to butt. Sorry, we're going butt to butt.
I hope that's your odor eaters.
I got 8 of them.
Yeah, but the hardest part of being there was not being here. One, to each and every one of you as well, I love you and I missed you so much. You the most. I missed this place so much.
Yeah, I'll just echo what these guys said. The ocean that we rode is not this ocean. I'll just say that first and foremost. We practiced. We knew what we were doing. That was never a doubt. Even saying that, there was never a doubt on the water. So let me preface with that. But it was definitely a different ocean. I know it was a lot more fun, and I'm kind of a sicko. So, you know, a 30-foot swell to me is like a roller coaster. So there was a lot of giggles and wheeze. So I'm twisted that way, which is probably why I did this in the first place. But no, the answer was, for me, just to wrap up, is there was never a doubt. But the one thing that definitely helped was I had a kind of a regiment that every day at 10 o'clock back here, I called Starla and the kids, and that was kind of like my go-to to keep me grounded. And some days it made it worse, because obviously that meant I wasn't there. But I was coming home to something, and not to take away from this crowd and how much I love all of you, but she gets precedence over everybody, so.
All right, next question. How did y'all entertain yourselves? What are some of the things? Okay.
All right, next question.
Paul, you said there would be no hard questions, that you would answer
next question.
anything. You said you'd answer anything. You said this.
I'm going to make a confession. Cameron and I spent a lot of time on the horse together. It's just the way it worked out. And we found that we had this verbal banter back and forth that almost became podcast quality, where we were just tearing up anything and everything we could make fun of, even ourselves. We thought, well, Mr. Saltzor was an accident. If I tell you truly that was, I didn't even mean to send that video off the boat. Mr. Saltzor, he's still there, Mr. Saltzor. And just so you know, Cameron's going to tattoo Mr. Saltzor on my finger. We're gonna put him there forever. But so that banter became just hysterical. And the weaker you got physically, the harder it was to laugh. Like your diaphragm just stopped working so much. And then it came, and this is a confession I probably shouldn't make, but I actually wet myself one time because Cam had me laughing so hard. I was like, it was uncontrollable. And I don't remember the subject, but I remember saying that we could get banned if it was on regular radio or something. Like we'd be like Joe Rogan in a heartbeat without it.
So for Billy and I, well, I got to tell you, my heart goes out to Billy, because Billy had an extra layer of mental toughness laid onto the row. Because believe it or not, everybody thinks I talk a lot. And no, seriously. And when I'm on the boat, you can even ask Cam, he can validate it because he's always made a lot of comments of it. I am going to this zone, this zen, and it's not purposeful. It's just, that's the way I am. There's something that just needs to be done. I get quiet and I don't say anything. So, but Billy did what I found very interesting, because I actually like it now. I can think of when I'm in quiet moments, it was really, really a good way to get somebody going. So he would do what him and Katie do when they went on long trips. They would just purposely ask each other questions. And I really got to tell you, and on a serious side about it, it really is very, very helpful, because he would say like real arbitrary things like, tell me about one uncle that you think was really the most influential or eccentric in your life, you know, and we would go from there. And then there were times where Billy, we'd ask like, hey, throw your iPod on, and we would play a lot of music during the shift. But then also we made an observation that when the music's on, we don't talk to each other. So there were times where Billy and I, all of a sudden, were like, at the very end, and he's like, oh, hey, play some music, you know, because we chatted the whole time. So it was not only keeping each other entertained, but I think, you know, a few of us came off the boat just even learning a little bit more about each other. So if you're on a long trip with your other half, whoever it may be, you know, try it. So Billy's got some on his mom's side. He's got some pretty neat relatives, man. I was trying to see if any of them were single. No offense, Ruth. I was like, I'm just kidding, Ruth. I'm just kidding. Easy over there, John Jr.
What was the coolest marine life that you saw?
Whale. Yeah, definitely a whale. A big whale.
A whale cruised by.
It was a fin whale, just to be specific.
Yeah, we saw it up in our row, and then we looked to our starboard side, and there was a big old whale that was just gliding past the boat. It was pretty cool. That was the biggest. And the size of the porpoises are way bigger too, out there.
The porpoises are way bigger. Yeah. I'll interpret for you in the Navy speak.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said the best thing we saw was a whale. The best wildlife we saw was a fin whale that swam past the boat when we were rowing. Yeah, and other than that, there's a lot of nothing. By the way, there's really, you go 10 days without seeing anything. So we kind of got sold a bill of goods on the whole Talisker whiskey thing. You're going to see all this wildlife and all these cool things because we're like, where is it all? So, but
I think
All right.
about,
Go ahead, Cam.
I was going to say about 10 days before we landed, I think Paul went in the water. I had been sleeping and woke up to about 20 mahi and tuna, and they were the brightest blue, yellow with these streaks. And unfortunately, I wasn't ever brave enough to go in and lower myself on the food chain, so I stayed out of the water. But Paul went in all the time, and I got great footage of him doing it. You didn't even need to go in the water. You could see it was so clear. You could see 30, 40 feet deep, and these things were just monstrous. And other than that, I would say Paul was probably the most amazing marine thing I saw out there.
Oh, wow.
I
Wait a minute, that was sexy too. I didn't realize that.
will probably never eat yellowfin tuna again because they were just absolutely beautiful. And I was surprised by their blue and purple, like Cam said, with neon green stripes and yellow tails. I mean, I love me some sushi, so I'm going to have to navigate that. But they were absolutely beautiful. We saw a sea turtle the size of a picnic table. I mean, it was just monstrously huge. We saw the whale. Cam saw a shark some ways out. And then I saw a marlin and/or billfish coming in on a wave headed for the tuna that were right next to the boat. And I just closed my eyes because I didn't want to see the marlin strike go through the boat, which thankfully the tuna went away from the boat. But you could see him in the wave with those two eyes because predator fish have forward-looking eyes. And that sail was up, and he was just coming straight down the wave and did not hit us, thankfully. Yeah, well, Paul would have kicked that marlin's ass. Because he's Paul.
flying fish. You forgot about flying fish. All night long, every night that the deck lights are on. And if you've never been smacked in the face by a flying fish that's about as big as a beer can, it's not fun.
And the smell, it smells like sardines as soon as it hits. It's just a splatter of stink.
And I got to say, the first night when you're out there, you're like, you know, you go out and, you know, it's at night and they're really attracted. We thought we figured it out really by the lights. So all of a sudden, you know, they're all over the place and we're like, oh yeah, you know, we're picking them out of, by the second night, you're like, man, you know, you're grabbing these things and because they end up being such a nuisance. But if you want, I'm going to add a little bit onto it. So how about something that you can't see, but that you know is there? So if you want, you could play along with this. Close your eyes for a second. So Billy and I got the opportunity to kind of feel this for a very short period. So imagine that the sky is completely pitch black. You know, there's absolutely no moon. There's no stars, right? And so now you're out in what? I don't know how many square miles of open ocean. The nav light's off, and then all of a sudden, all you just hear is, and you're hearing the blowholes of some dolphin. You know, you're hearing a little bit of the waves, like Billy was just saying, and then you're hearing just the blowholes of a pod of dolphins. You don't really know just how much, right? So you can't see that, but it just gives you the most amazing feeling inside and just the inside to just know that something like that is just so magical.
Are there any future endurance events for your cause?
Next question. Can the wives close their ears? Who the hell was that out in the audience?
No. For myself, hell no.
No.
I will be honest. Yes, it's in the back of my mind. I would love to get out in the ocean again.
Dummy.
Yeah. I already got on the erg to do some rowing, and that's just really personally because I really have fallen in love with rowing. I really actually have. But I will also be honest because I've had this conversation with Billy at night when the stars are out and we're holding hands. Well, one hand. The other hand was rowing. So the other guys know. Yeah, I mean, there's things about that rowing that were really a lot different. For me, I'm an ocean guy. I love being out in the ocean. But I have found out that I love being in it, than so much time on top of it. So I would have to assess that. But yes, I would like to.
Yeah, the last couple of days I ran into a couple of people and they asked me, so in all seriousness, if somebody said, hey, I'll give you $1 million to do it again and it can go to veteran suicide, I'd be in the boat in a minute. But that aside, I think it's too soon. I would still say no, but if I could go back in time knowing what I know now, I would absolutely do it again for the first time, but I have no ambition to ever do it again. I've said that I'm not even going near the boat ride at Disney.
I came home Tuesday morning and gave my erg away on Tuesday afternoon. Scott Sherman has it at his house.
Oh, nice. Get on it, Scott.
I love my wife.
Excellent answer.
How has recovery been? What have you been eating? What have you been doing? How are your bodies feeling?
Oreos. I'm looking for another endorsement, by the way. No, I weighed out.
Yeah, Cam, how much weight did you lose? I'm sorry.
So
let's do that. Let's get
39
that.
pounds. I weighed out at 223. I weighed in at 184 as of this morning. I'm back up to 195. So
Fat ass.
God bless sugar and real food. And yeah, that's it for me.
I lost 38 pounds and starting to put it back on. And my wife's not too happy with me, but I already registered for 3 triathlons this year.
Nice.
So we're not gonna, yeah. But yeah, rowing's out, but the weight gain and the recovery's coming back quick. So
22.
Go ahead, Hub.
No, you, Paul.
Oh, no, you.
Go ahead. I insist.
All right,
22
so,
pounds.
yeah. I did that purposely. Hup loves me.
All right, I'll go. 22 pounds. But I ate every morsel of everything in my food pack every day. And congratulations to me. Because I followed the directions of the people who were in charge. Who said, make sure you eat everything every day. So you're eating 5,000 calories a day if you didn't know that, but you're burning 9. So you're at a negative 4,000 calorie deficit every day. I even ate some of Paul's food, and as you can tell. And I ate some of Cam's food, and we actually all shared some of the best stuff amongst each other. But I ate all my food every day.
Yeah, so the reason I want to row again is because of the post-row activities. You just really get to come home and you have a complete license to eat whatever you want. So Ruth took the keys to my car away from me after I came back from the food store the other day. I had a box of Fruit Loops, a box of Sugar Smacks, those big-ass Entenmann chocolate donuts that you throw into the refrigerator, and then you have a nice glass of cold milk, which was lactose-free. And then I think I had some apple pie minis in there. So I got to tell you, every 15 minutes, I've been like eating. So I started out with CrossFit 32034. Big, huge thanks. Not sure if Joe or Leanne or anybody from there is in the audience, but they were a tremendous help for us when they picked us up and sponsored us unconditionally to get us in not a race condition, but to get us in a condition that we would feel very proud of in crossing the ocean, and they were very successful. So for me, for a 59-year-old dude, I do feel like a machine on that. So, but yes, I want to eat everything and anything. I know when I came home from the airport, Coastal Pizza kept the restaurant open. I had a big-ass pot of pasta with bolognese, and then I came home and our neighbors left 2 trays of lasagna in there, and Ruth was wondering how I was eating everything. So, yeah. So, but it's whatever you want to feed me, I'm good.
The one thing I would like to mention is physically is that even that calorie deficit or that negative deficit starts to eat your own body mass. So I am Bavarian. I don't know if we were like hop pickers or what that means, but I had these calf muscles that were pretty sizable, just like my father, and they're gone. So the bro ate my calf muscles, it ate my thigh muscles, and it ate my pectoral muscles. So I don't know if I'll get those back, or I'm just going to be like David Bowie for the rest of my life. I'm not sure.
At least you had calves to lose. I had nothing, and I still lost them.
Yeah, so it really did physically eat some of the protein off of your own body.
So one last thing on that, when we hit the Antigua, I was like, ooh, real food, and we all talked about it. I think it was the biggest part of our conversations when we were out there is like, what's the first thing you're going to eat? Where are you going to go? What are you going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, blah, blah, blah. So when I got to Antigua, and I was hanging out with everybody because there was a large number of people there from the island here, there was never a missed meal. And I took that to the extreme one day, and if you eat too much, you get just as sick, if not sicker, than if you don't eat. So your body goes into shock because you've been eating all this dehydrated food and nothing but water, and now it kind of looks at real food like poison. And yeah, I found that out the hard way. So, but once I was over that, since I've been back here to our island, yeah, it's been whatever the heck I want. So that's been helpful. And with the blessing of the wife, for the first time ever, I don't have to hear about I'm eating bad things.
How do you plan to continue to raise awareness for the cause?
Well, what I would suggest there is, one, that we don't stop talking about it, because from talking to people in the community, thanks, yeah, that's very kind. It's okay to have these difficult conversations about mental health, and it's okay to have these conversations about being broken and not being perfect and not being an alpha when you come out of the service, whether alpha male or alpha female. It's okay to be broken, and it's okay to need to get some help to repair yourself when you've suffered something mentally. So that's the first part. We keep talking to each other and loving each other. The second part is, and I don't mean for this to sound like it's us, because it's not. This community has built a kennel at Canines for Warriors that's going to go on for decades. So is that an accurate statement, Steph? I mean, yeah, so what you did on this island and then the campaign that you guys created and funded is building a mega kennel which will train 150 dogs a year to eliminate that waiting list of veterans that are begging for help. Yeah, so right. Yeah, so the kennel will reduce that wait list, and I think that's the testament of what everybody here has done. So thank you for that. We're just four knuckleheads rowing a boat. But what this island did is unlike anything I've ever seen.
And let's not forget, we still have Cross the Line Foundation here on the island, which is a veteran organization to raise funds for veterans every year. So that'll continue to forever, hopefully, and that's going to be a continuing awareness for veterans issues and concerns. I said Cross the Line Foundation here on the island is still viable and still an ongoing organization that's going to continue to raise awareness for veterans' needs and veterans' issues. So that's something that the island can hold is continue to give to Cross the Line and participate in Cross the Line events and things like that.
Yeah, this is a question, and a lot of times you won't hear me say I, but this is going to be one of those things where I's coming out because it kind of just reduces down to the individual. Because Foar from Home, we'll stop. We'll have our last event. It will have served what it was supposed to serve, and it served in the utmost, I think, fashion that an event could probably ever, along with the community, because really you guys were the catalyst for that. So. But what I've learned out of it from an individual, and again, when I had the phrase about that it's reshaped our hearts, So for me, it's really reshaped my heart in just that validation that the smallest things that a community can do can have really the most impact. And so really it's just about continuing not only the message, but just doing the small things. Instead of taking something for yourself, give it to a veteran. And it could be just as much as I think Billy captured in one of his statements, buying a tank of gas for somebody. But it also could be just really sitting down at a picnic table when you least expect it and you're with a veteran and just to sit and chat. People don't realize that just sometimes a conversation or a sharing of a discussion can really make a difference. But for me individually, to answer the question, the biggest thing that this community gave to all of us was showing that a veteran can repurpose themselves and a veteran can make a difference in any community that they want to.
Yeah, at the risk of sounding egotistical, but I hope it doesn't come off that way, if echo on what Paul said is, if 4 of us can make something like this happen, imagine what each one of you can do now that you know what we know. So, that would be my hope. And I've always said, and Paul started with this earlier, is, forget the name of the team, forget our names, but just always remember the why we did it. Because we're gone in days from now, right? We go back to our regular lives. 4 from home is just a name somewhere that everybody kind of remembers, but it fades away. But 22 is not fading away anytime soon. I wish it was. Thank you. But if you do, if you're not here, and everybody else does, that 22. I wish that this solved that problem once and for all, but it's going to be a problem. And each one of you has something to do with moving forward with that and helping fix, the mentality and the stigma that may be attached to that. So, I plan, I think, answering the question to continue on. I'm never shy. I love to talk, and I will tell anybody about why I did this till my last breath. But when everybody else is bored with that, you start telling people why you think it's important.
During the row, what were some of the scariest moments or any fears that you ended up facing?
So big man, no fear. I had a hard time, and it wasn't really fear, but the hardest thing I dealt with was, 3 days in, we had seasickness. I think by day 3, we were all over it. We had a very cloudy day, and we weren't generating a lot of battery power. The batteries weren't getting any energy. And so we decided that night we weren't going to have any running lights. Well, shockingly to me, I had an issue with perception. And I couldn't see my puddles that I was creating with my oars, nor could I see, I had no, what's the word I'm looking here for, guys? No depth perception. I had no gauge. And the only thing I could think of, Willy Wonka, when they're on the boat, and it looks like they're going 1,000 miles an hour. That's what my brain told me was happening. And I think it was 2 or 3 weeks in, and I got sick all over again. Just totally threw me for a loop, had no idea. I was rowing 1 second, got sick the next. And ironically enough, Paul came out the next shift and started playing this, what I consider beautiful music, Hawaiian music, which I couldn't get enough of from there on in. And it helped me to focus on something that I had never seen before, heard before, and we were able to keep the lights off because at a certain point, also in this time, there was no moon. So it was pitch black. You couldn't see the end of your oars. You could hardly see the guy you were rowing with. And I think that was the biggest setback for me, was just all of a sudden, no perception. And it really plays tricks with your mind.
Yeah.
What a great observation.
Yeah, great, Cam. A big one for me was other boat traffic, because every other boat was bigger than us, and some of them were very big, and some of them were doing 20 and 30 knots because they were just trucking across the transit lane. So for me, it was reaching them on the radio when I knew we would get an alert. They'd be like 6 miles out, 7 miles out. Some of the boats, although you have to speak English to hold a radio license in the world, some of the operators don't speak very well, so it was really hard sometimes to get. But my favorite moment was Cam and I were on oars, and about 6 miles out, just this bright lighted boat, just rows and rows and rows of lights, and I thought, that's really unique. And I go, motor vessel, this is Robo Courageous on Wed 6. Hello, chaps, this is Queen Mary 2. Yeah, Nigel's friends. It was absolutely just the greatest radio moment ever. And I'm like, hello, Queen Mary 2, this is Rowboat Courageous. He says, we see you on AIS. We're going to stay well clear of you. Good luck, chaps. We know what you're doing.
Paul managed to get a date with a Filipino boat captain. we're rowing, and a cargo ship was passing us, and Paul gets on the radio and literally was talking to this Filipino chap for about like half an hour, talking about dinner plans and what is going on. And I was like, what are you trying to get, a date? The guy, trying to hook up with the guy. But I thought it was very comical because he was just going on and on this whole conversation like for half our shift.
Actually, yeah, it was really neat. I forgot about that. But yeah, it was, yeah, Billy actually said, I think that guy's got your credit card and your bank account's pretty much gone. So I'm gonna give you something pretty deep on a serious side. Probably my biggest fear, and I think it parallels with veteran suicide and what we do to each other in society. And please don't take this the wrong way. Just take this as a very good observation. So for me, as like one of the project managers for this, you know, and ordering the boat, shipping the boat, and doing all those kind of things, and then these three gentlemen here bestowed the honor to me, and I mean that sincerely, the honor, on being the skipper of the boat. I'm going to use the word expectations, because in society we levy these expectations on ourselves, and if we don't get there at times, that's what brings us to dark moments, I think, in our lives. Because that's the biggest thing that I got out of this row, is just stay grounded, stay humble, and you are going to fail. And it's okay to fail. What's not okay is to quit. What's not okay is to stop. And so the four of us, along with the community, never stopped. Think about that. All along the way, when we hit COVID, we couldn't fundraise. We had to stop fundraising. It kind of separated us a little bit as a community. We got severed with businesses. The list could go on. So for me, as a project manager and as a skipper, my biggest fear never lied in the ocean on facing any 30-foot wave or anything like that. I was like Cam, I got a lot of joy out of that. But it was about failing a community was my biggest concern. When we were sitting there in La Gomera, I can remember this like it was yesterday. I received an email, and the first thing that I do when I open up that email, the email kind of is to this effect. It says, your boat is held in customs, and we need a check for $93,000 to pay for the cost. So I get an email like that, my heart totally sinks, because I'm thinking to myself, wow, we've got a really huge, significant problem. You know, we're not going to get a boat. And can you imagine being over in La Gomera, not having an ocean rowboat, and you know you got a community, you know, that's looking at you. So on a serious note, those were my fears. My fear was to sometimes to not make it, to disappoint a community. But on a positive side of that, You all made that not possible for us. So you need to know that also, because the times that we didn't make it out of an inlet, the times that we didn't make it to a destination that we said that we were going to go to, there was not one of you that never greeted us with about that there's a tomorrow. That there's a tomorrow to train. And that is what keeps you going.
The true test is what people, if you didn't hear the story or not, we got our boat 3 days before the start of the race. Like, actually, about 2 days. We got it it was the night, Thursday night, the race was starting on Sunday. So we really, really had to kick it into high gear to get our boat ready to go. All the other teams are already at the start line ready to go, and we were just getting our boat. So I think even all the training that we went through and the whole 2.5 years, that was a moment when we really pulled it together, and we had to, like, look, we got 2 days to get our act together and get on the water. So
I'll put it in my best Chicago terms. We got shook down for like $90-some thousand. And that's how I saw it from where I was sitting.
To be clear, we didn't pay it.
Right,
To
absolutely.
be clear, we
no.
did not pay those Spanish people.
Yeah, sorry. We showed them. But it was kind of funny because Paul was handling it, obviously, as our skipper. And, you know, from where I was sitting, it was none of my business, even as a team member, because, you know, too many voices get things mixed up. So, but we would get our nightly briefings occasionally and be like, okay, how bad is it today? And it was just kind of funny sitting back looking at it now that $90-some thousand went to $20-some thousand to, I think it went down to $4,000. It's like, just give us something, we'll let your boat go. And it was like, no, you know, keep the damn thing. We'll do something else. But the great part about that story is all the other rowers, there were a number of other military teams there as well, and a number of them approached us and said, listen, man, we've got this plan. We're going to storm this place. True story.
True story.
And we're going to go in at night, and we're going to take out anybody that we have to. Not, you know, fatally or anything.
Tie them up. Tie them up. Yeah,
and we're going to stealth mode this boat back here, and we'll do whatever it takes to help you. And then when our boat finally got back, we had these daily briefings through Talisker and Atlantic Campaigns, and they would announce that our boat was coming, and you could just see the excitement from the other teams, that how happy they were for us. And not just us, there was Row for Hope and Owens Rowing. They were in the same boat. Yeah. Sorry. And
Pun intended.
yeah, but no, but it was the camaraderie from these people that we've never met, but because we were doing something that they got and we got for them as well, you're instant family, and there's an instant connection, and I dare I say an instant love for each other, because you all know what you've done to get there, and you all know somewhat what you're about to go through together, and they had our back. So for that, I can never thank them enough, and the way they just kept us lifted up, it was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to, if I can jump on that for a moment too, because, I don't want to, you know, put Paul on the spot, but I'm going to put Paul on the spot. There's one skipper, and skipper makes hard decisions all the time. That sub-story of not having the boat presented two possibilities. We could have been a bunch of jerks and just racked them out, you know, been ugly about it, or we could have handled that situation with grace and humility. And I commend Paul for setting the tone that it was only going to be grace and humility and patience and fortitude quietly, while the government worked that situation out, and we would quietly stand by as a team. And we went out and helped every other boat pack their load, because we learned how to pack a load. We went out and helped other teams that had errands to run. We went out and did all things. And that's Paul, in my opinion. That's what a good skipper does. Other than that, he was intolerable.
Oh, and thanks for my brothers. I thank you. And again, it was the resounding resemblance of a community. Thanks, Hub. Thanks, Billy and Kim. The boat right now is in Antigua. She's going to hopefully be on the manifest this week. We'll find out if she makes it on the ship cycle. First, she was in the hands of Raynoch, and then it goes to a customs receiver. We've learned a lot about customs, so remember what I said before, veterans can do anything, so the four of us do have a customs broker organization in the development right now, so if anybody needs our services, all donations will be going to K9 for Warriors.
Except to Spain. We don't ship to Spain.
Yeah, we
anymore.
don't ship to Spain. So the boat is, she's in Antigua. She will get shipped back here. We will strip her down. We'll take her decals down and clean her up, and all of us will do epoxy work on her, get her in good shape, and we'll find another, either she'll do another crossing, or she'll do a lease crossing, or we will sell her. So there's a bunch of options. The one thing that we've always learned is never to kind of put anything into a cup until it's really ready to be put in a cup or a box and sealed up. So we'll see what happens there. So we've had a couple of inquiries, on her. We actually almost thought we had her sold to a team out in Tampa. But just as we were searching for a boat, that team made a better decision for a boat that was $20,000 less. But when she does sell or when she does lease, that money only specifically goes back to a veteran organization. Just as we have always been good stewards, we will continue to be good stewards in her. So whether it's leased or sold, her money goes back to a veteran organization. She's actually your boat, so no, we're rowing your boat, really. It's a community boat. You all help fund that boat.
All right, we have about 30 minutes here, and I just wanted to let everybody know that the crew is going to be leaving right at 2 because they have some prior engagements because of the reschedule. So we just all really appreciate that you let them exit and get out of here comfortably in safety and not miss any of their next events. So now that we are coming to the end, we have some questions about the future, including Courageous. We got that question knocked out. If you have any questions you want to throw in, you can go on your phone to Facebook, and there is a place where you can comment it, and then I'm getting handed those questions live. So you can put them in there if you have any questions you want to share. So with y'all being home, what's in the next chapter of your relationships? Your friendships together, like as a crew, after spending every day together, what does it look like next?
Cameron and I are starting a podcast. We haven't figured out the name yet or a host site because it's going to be rated PG-24 or something like that.
We're working with Funky Fungi and the Flying Fish.
That's the name of our next band. Funky Fungi and the Flying Fish is the name of our new band.
There is a great story. Please ask Hup about it.
I don't know. Hopefully we all still remain friends and see each other on the island. I'm ready to move forward and move on with my retired life. So.
Yeah, I think life, I've got a job I got to get back to on Monday. This place will still be, I'll be looking for who's playing the porch here or who's playing the stage. So life goes back to normal for me. And these guys are part of that normal. So, I don't see anything changing. We're definitely closer, but I don't think I'm going to be like sitting any closer to them as I drink with them or like sitting on their laps or anything, hugging them more than I usually do. But no, I think our friendships were pretty well bonded and founded before this. And, it's just more the same after this for me.
I can tell you that I'm not the same guy I was when I left. I don't feel the same. I feel like I worked too much. Like I worked like 5 or 6 days a week playing music. So I've made a personal commitment to cut that in half. I'm going to play half as much as I played before because I'm 55 and I should slow down a little bit on that part. And I'd like to be more philanthropic. I would like to find this got so big and so beautiful that if I don't take this energy and move forward with it somewhere in a volunteer or veteran organization, then I'm missing the boat, literally missing the boat. So I want to try to get my life to go in a direction where I can continue to work and help within the veteran community you know, Canines for Warriors is taking applications because they are, because actually the good news is they're building so many facilities that they have to run them, and there's a job fair on March. Today. Oh shoot. Steph, can I get an in? Maybe. No. Anyway, there's lots of possibilities. I would like to work less and be more active in my community and the veteran community and repay some of this love.
Yeah, that's beautiful. For me, the same thing. You can't go into an event like this and then come out of it without any changes. I mean, I really honestly think I'm still kind of the same humble guy, but I feel like I'm a little bit more on the Red Bull thing as far as giving back. I really want to. I'm retired, so I'm definitely gonna spend more time in that. I can't wait to get back on my Meals on Wheels on my Wednesdays and go bug all the people that I drop the meals off to. I'm really looking forward to that. I would love to give back, which I know I'm going to do. Some things Ruth needs to hear that I'm going to say I'm going to do. We have the Thompson house to work on. So, and actually when I was on the row, I was actually looking forward to that because I love woodworking. So I'm going to get back into that. But the biggest thing is I am going to try to find is I want to have some kind of organization that I truly enjoy that's going to be connected with both veterans and the ocean. And I just recently found a group. They're called Force Blue, where they're all veterans and they rebuild reefs. So if you all don't know, the four of us, along with this community, was selected as sea ambassadors. I'm not really sure if everybody knows that. Yeah. If you don't know that, that was really a bestowed honor on this team. There were only 3 teams out of the 36 teams that they selected, and you all need to know this, that it just wasn't the 4 of us that made that possible. It was you as an entire community that also made that possible. Your engagement in our campaign, your engagement in us as individuals, and plus in our mission. So that also yielded, believe it or not, because we wrote our essay, we didn't want to get away from our veteran cause. So our essay that we wrote was about how do we connect ocean conservation with the veteran community, and we do it in a very simple way, is that veterans use the ocean to strengthen their wellness. There's a lot of groups, if you don't realize that use surfing, use kayaking, use swimming, use scuba diving, many ways that ocean can increase your mental wellness and your mental strength. So if I had to do any one thing, it would be really to go back and work with a veteran organization that's connected with the ocean, and I hope that happens somewhere.
All right, we're going to ask some individual questions. Hup, how did the row compare to a submarine deployment?
Oh, it was way better than submarines. First off, you can see the sun every day. Oh gosh, I don't know how to answer that one. Submarine deployments were fun too. Any submariners in the crowd? Did you have fun? Okay, see, there you go. This is way more beautiful. The crew was better. The food was terrible on this row. I got to be honest, the food was bad. But yeah, there's no comparison. This was just such a beautiful journey, just amazing. Submarines are just fascinating. Is that fair? I don't know where that one came from, but
That works.
thanks. Okay.
Billy, how often did y'all reapply sunscreen?
Cameron?
Wow. I'm olive skin. So I think at the beginning of the row, maybe a little bit, but not that often.
It rubbeth the
Yeah.
lotion upon its skin.
I didn't use a lot of sunscreen.
All right, you're going to get a follow-up question then. How did you deal with seasickness?
I can honestly say I'm the only one on this stage that did not throw up. I did get seasick. The first 3 days, all of us were seasick and nauseous. But I ate Dramamine. I started a Dramamine regiment probably like 4 days before we got on the boat, and I kept that going, just eating Dramamine for about 4 days until it went away. I said I dealt with the seasickness. I said I did not puke. I was nauseous for about 3 days. All of us were. The first 3 days, we all got a little bit seasick. I started a Dramamine regimen about 4 days prior to getting on the boat, where I was eating Dramamine every day, and continued that until about day 5. And then it just kind of, your body just kind of normalizes itself out after the 3rd or 4th day. But the first 3 days on the boat, I think I could speak for all of us, was pretty miserable. Every one of us was feeling pretty sick, and you just sucked it up and went through it.
Well, not to be contrary, but we all had our own journey. Billy was on a different shift at the time, I think, with Paul. Cam and I rode it together at the beginning. I had a mental health trainer, in Don Grant, and Don created audios for me that were called Motion Wellness, not anti-seasickness, but literally Motion Wellness. And by day 2, I was actually eating all my meals. So I would put the audio in when I went to sleep. I'd wake up, and I think I was a day or 2 ahead of the guys on the taking in food power curve. So I thank Dawn for that. It was really powerful. I used her other audios for the rest of the journey to get to sleep. If Dawn's here, she's probably not here, she's working. But if she speaks to me, I start falling asleep right away.
Paul, there's a request for more details about the dehydrated meals.
What the hell kind of question is that?
Well, it seemed like you were the subject matter expert, so.
Oh, dehydrated meals. He didn't eat them. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to figure out where to. So for me, again, it goes back and arcs to that thing about expectations. People like, oh, were you seasick? Did you struggle here? Did you struggle there? Everything is about, what's that word I told everybody earlier? Expectations. Come on, everybody. This is it's big, because expectations, like, people think of seasickness and like, oh man, is that a sign of this or a sign of that? And it's not. Each one of us had our own. What makes each one of us beautiful is that we're individuals, and we each had our own regiment that we did. For me, my journey was figuring out, I'm not going to have that mac and cheese or that Himalayan rice. I ended up having oatmeal and granola, and that worked for me. And then I had this plant-based protein powder. And even though I dropped some almost 40 pounds, 40 plus pounds when I got out of there, you can ask these guys. Like, I felt like I had all the energy in the world when I was out there, like when I was rowing. And like what Billy said was real key. The first 3 days are always going to be miserable. You just kind of puke and you go. You puke, you row, you puke, you row, and then because there's nothing, right. You got to get over that. You got to get over that mentally. So it was a great journey, but. To embellish really on the dehydrated foods, I don't know.
Paul, can I help you? I can sum up dehydrated food because I ate a lot of it.
Up.
The pasta and the sauce, whatever flavor you pick, it's the same thing. They just change the flavor, right? It would be mac and cheese, and the next day it was, pasta and lasagna, or pasta tomato, right? And then pasta primavera, then pasta with spinach, then pasta with chicken and spinach, then pasta with... But it was the same meal, but they just changed the flavor pack that went in the. So it was noodles plus, kinda, yeah. It was just a pasta plus, and then my favorite meal ended up being the sweet potatoes and chicken and rice, which I didn't have, but Cameron and Paul gave me theirs because they didn't like it, right? I think, and I gave Cam my strawberry granola breakfast because it was 800 calories a day. Boom, right in. So
yeah, it was really neat how we were all switching.
Flavor,
yeah. Especially towards the end. Every ones that we didn't use, and what was really neat about that, if there's anybody out in the audience that was in the military, whether it be the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, if you remember when you did your field trips, you would always do exchange things. I remember when I was in the Marines and I was out in the field, if nobody liked their gorilla cookies, I would say, hey, I'll give you my fruit cup for your gorilla cookies, and it was really kind of neat because it brought back memories of that, because that's what we were doing on the boat. I got corn nuts from Billy and Hupp and Cam, Billy at the end saw I was getting low on granola and gave me some of his granola, so it was really neat. I was trying to think of the Air Force. You were there to my left, and when we went out in the field, the Marines, or when we went to Disney and Air Force.
Cam just said we had tea times. Four.
I was trying to be gentle.
Choose your branch wisely.
Hoorah.
Cam, this is for you, but I'm sure the other guys will want to join in. Can you tell us about Christmas Day?
It's not that exciting. I slept. True. Didn't I? I slept. So anybody that knows me knows I love Jack Daniels. And I had a flask of Jack in a Jack flask delivered to me in Antigua. I'm sorry, in La Gomera. And the plan was to celebrate Christmas and also New Year's with the boys. And Christmas Day came, and we talked about it. We would, I think, at like 12:01, the morning of, we all said Merry Christmas to each other. At some point in time, I'm sure we all spoke to our families. But as far as on the boat, Christmas came and went for us. It just was, you keep rowing. I personally came home to a second Christmas. My 7-year-old asked Santa if her elf on the shelf could stay so that she could have an extended Christmas with Dad when she got home. So the Christmas tree's still up at my house. We're not that lazy. We're just... And if you see Christmas ornaments in front of my yard, that's why. I think she's just really smart and figured out a way to get extra gifts for Christmas. But I'd like to think that she loves her dad that much that we got to celebrate a little bit extra. But unfortunately for the four of us, I don't think that...
Paul gave us hot chocolate and something.
Yeah, we
hot
found out about that.
It was only 103 degrees outside. He gave us hot chocolate. And what was the other thing? It was
We got letters.
Oh, coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Oh, yeah,
Coffee and hot chocolate. And then we all had special letters from
Yeah, that was-
folks that had sent them out. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the letters were...
Because I didn't get
the
Paul
bomb.
anything. I felt really guilty when he gave me the hot chocolate. I was like, here, have this pasta primavera with chicken and spinach.
You guys were sleeping that close. You gave each other something.
I still got it. No, I'll tell you, yeah, Billy just mentioned the letters. So we got community letters, and we got letters from our family and our friends, and I could tell you, man, those were awesome.
I had a card every Friday from Lulu. Every Friday I opened a card. So Friday was my great day. I loved it.
Gotta love the cards too that said, open when you need it. That was, it was like, man, we needed a card for every day. So I'm only kidding. But yeah, those were neat. Like open it the last week, open it on Christmas, open it on New Year's, open it when you need it. Oh, hoorah, hoorah. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't really hear that, but I'll give an hoorah.
4 flags.
Oh, oh, yeah. So, yeah, Christmas kind of come and went.
And New Year's too. New Year's was like, hey, happy 20, let's row.
No New Year's resolutions?
To never row across the ocean again.
I think I'm the only one up here. I'm starting to feel isolated, people.
What was it like when y'all came off of Courageous? What were those first few moments like?
Wobbly.
You pull in and it's concrete like this, like bricks with a little strip of wood. And so I hit the wood. If you watch the video, I smacked the wood and I thought, oh, it's a dock. Yeah. And then we stepped over and everything kept moving. But it was actually terra firma. It was earth. But everything kept moving. That's why they're trying to grab you to keep you from falling over. It's crazy. And then I stumbled around Antigua for 3 days like a drunk without drinking.
So to preface, back in Spain, they actually tell you there's going to be things you go through, and then they say you'll actually smell when you get close to land. And I'd forgotten that. And within the last day, we all started noticing this kind of different from the ocean smell. It wasn't a bad smell. It was just different. and because we had all smelled the flying fish and everything else out there. And but yeah, it was kind of weird. And then I think it was Billy who was kind of facing where we were rowing, and I think he was the first one to notice. He's like called out that there was land, and it was like hours after we had all smelled something different, and two and two getting put together. It was like, that's what we smell is land. So you could smell it before you ever saw it. So that was the first step to getting to the finish. And then when you could do that, I remember when I got off shift and I actually got to turn around and see the island, and I saw a tree. It blew my mind because you only see sky and ocean and the other three guys. And seeing a tree for the first time in 51 days, it's something we all take for granted, right? We're sitting around here, but when you haven't seen it, it's like it takes your breath away. And that's how it started. And then you progressively get closer to the finish line. And then I'm guessing many of you saw where we popped the flares. Well, before the flares start, you actually start hearing people. And then you start recognizing their voices. And you hear your wives, you hear your friends. We had a large contingency that was waiting for us there, and that was totally surreal because you've been literally alone with each other. And to hear all those people, cowbells, air horns, just hollering, and again, the voices that you hear are familiar to you, and that's where it starts. And it kind of takes over, like, is this really happening? And then when you finally get to the dock, I remember the first thing I said was, who the hell puts 4 guys or however many people that are arriving at the time on a floating dock? And then I saw the grass and bricks and thought, oh, this isn't floating.
I'll kind of echo on Cam's. It's just, there's like different euphorias. And I think the first one is when you were like 100 miles out. And you're like, okay, we know we're 100 miles out. And they keep telling you before it, don't look for land because you're not going to see it until you're, about like 17, 15 miles out. Although, even though at 100, you still start looking, like constantly. You're constantly looking. I'm waiting to see land. And when you first see land, that's the first euphoria. It's like, oh, God. It's like a sight of something that we can get to, even though it's still about a day away, and you keep rowing. And then when you see the rescue, like the Talisker whiskey boat that was out there, and they come out to greet you, that's a whole nother sense of feeling. That's when you start kind of crying a little bit, and you start kind of just, oh man, now it's real, and now we're home. And then when you step off the dock and see all the people that were there waiting for us. That was just an unbelievable feeling of I don't know what you wanted to yell when you stepped out. I wanted to yell freedom, like in Braveheart. But yeah, it's just an unbelievable feeling that you'll never forget. Just seeing all the people that were just there waiting for you, but that whole experience, that whole drawdown from probably the last 24-hour period. It just sits in there, and it was Hup that saw land first, and I remember him yelling "land ho" or something like that.
Thank you, Billy, for backing that up. Air Force guy, Cam.
Yeah, and right at that moment, it's like you just felt it. You felt that you're done, even though we weren't done. You felt that you were done because you knew. I was thinking to myself, I could swim there if I have to. I can get off. I can actually get out and make it. But it was a pretty cool feeling.
And I don't think any of us rode as hard as we did that last, 10 minutes, even last hour. Hup started screaming like a cadence, and we didn't care. We kept up with it no matter how fast it was, and I think that boat didn't move as fast as ever as it did that last half hour.
Yeah, and for me, steering it was a whole other different sensory overload because when I came around the harbor, their backs are to the harbor, so they can't really see. So my first image of the harbor was industrial based. I actually, when I saw what I now know are the masts for these mega yachts, when I saw these long lit up pipes, I really thought we were pulling into an industrial park. And I was like, because I had this image of, tropical Antigua, I'm going to have a pina colada and all, in this beautiful blue harbor. And then all I see is just these lights and these tall things, which to me were smokestacks. And I said, what the hell? Are we coming into an industrial park? And then trying to pick up the buoy markers, to make sure that we're staying in the channel, even though they were guiding us. Still, everything had to be unsupported. And they were really just trying to help a little bit because you're coming in sleep deprived and so forth. But that was my first image, was an industrial park. Hearing, and I will tell you how exhilarating it is, because I guarantee if I shut the lights off here and we were here at night and I would hear your beautiful voices, it was the same thing that we heard with our wives and all the folks that came from Amelia Island. When they were up on the cliff, we're just hearing each one of their individual voices along with this industrial park, so we were kind of like, and then all of a sudden that just kind of phased in that these are all owners of boats and they're strangers who are also cheering us on with our, with Lou and Ruth and just everybody, Starla that was there, Katie and everybody that was there on the island. It was really actually a very magnificent way to be greeted.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you, we saw the turtle. We saw the video within minutes of stepping on land, and it absolutely brought me to tears.
Yeah, we don't
It was
want to
incredible what you
discount-
guys
yeah.
did here.
You have to understand too, from our context, we never realized that was happening, which is a really beautiful thing, right? Because we couldn't, in context, when we were rowing, our wives were saying, "Wow, this thing is developing on the island, and you're just not going to believe it." And we kind of absorbed that a little bit, but we never really could do it until you sit down, and now all of a sudden you're watching this video from the Green Turtle, just like you all are right now, and please know that it brought us to our knees.
So thinking about that, y'all are now local celebrities to a certain extent. We had a question come in asking that. What is next for each of you? You've mentioned going back to normal life, but it may not look normal anymore. Are there any books in the works? I know we have a podcast planned. So what's ahead for y'all?
So I did the math, and as I mentioned earlier, I have a job, I think, hopefully still waiting for me. Commissioner Martin, am I right out there? I appreciate that. And
Good response.
I had an event in my life happen in November that I had to leave and go back to Chicago for 3 days. And when I came back, I had close to 500 emails. So by my count, I have 11,000 emails waiting for me at work. So that's going to keep me occupied for quite some time.
I think a big part of me answered that. I've got two individuals here I'm going to put on the spot, and hopefully they won't mind. But the small things are going to be the things that make me the most happiest to do now, because I am retired, and to give back to other people is essential to me. So Hupp and I, and we're not discounting Billy or Cam. We just know Cam's going back to work, and Billy's going to be doing triathlons and wants to do other things. But and this also goes to the question about courageous. So actually, John Jr. and John, we're going to team up, and when Courageous is here, before we sell her, we're going to take her out for a quick spin, and we're going to actually do a short donation and run a little thing to take John Jr. out on the boat, and we're going to do something for the Special Olympics, just here locally. So if you're looking for an answer and what I'm going to do after the row, I can tell you right now, you can scratch the word celebrity. I'm with Billy on that, or hero, or anything like that, because just want to be Paul. Just want to give back. I want to go back bartending and meet a lot of people.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, right. And because that's what makes the journey in life is meeting people and giving back in the smallest of ways.
Wow. Yeah, for those of you that don't know me very well, I guess, yeah, I don't consider myself a celebrity or a hero or any of that. To be honest with you, I'm just a dude that rode across the ocean. I wanted to do this just to check the box, and I think that box is checked. And I would just like to, we can continue with Cross the Line, the Cross the Line Foundation, and that's a way to give back. And if Pastor Charlie's out there, plan on doing some work with the church and Habitat and doing some stuff like that. But for the most part, just want to go on with my normal life and hanging out with my boys at PJD's and getting drunk and doing some of that.
Yeah, one thing I want to absolutely make sure I do is, because I know we're on a schedule, is I want to either say hi, shake your hand, or hug each and every one of you before you leave here today. Please. I mean that sincerely. I want to say hi to everybody. I know we're stuck here, but my wife's looking at me like I'm absolutely crazy, but she already knew I was absolutely crazy because I volunteered to do this. So that's my wrap up on that part. I want to individually say hi to everybody. I don't know if it's possible, but we'll try that.
Yeah, no, I can tell you right now it's possible because they were talking about letting us go out the back and shuffle, and that's not happening. You all came out here today to listen to, our story, our journey. I'm going to reverse something really quick, if you don't mind. And if
You're
Cat
not
minds,
the skipper anymore.
Yeah, well, I am now. I just anointed myself the skipper. So I'm going to look at one person in the audience, and I already got my eye on him. He's
Awkward.
yeah. He's looking a little bit dapper. Sir, right there I know I'm going to say the blue shirt.
Way to pinpoint it, Bo.
On the ping pong table.
Yeah,
There you go.
Al, that's Al.
See, he knew who he was.
That's Al Sanders.
Yeah.
Al Sanders.
Al Sanders.
Some
Would
people
you
call him the
stand-
Colonel.
Would you stand up if you don't mind, sir?
You're batting 1,000, Bo.
No, he wasn't. He was leaning his sexy hiney on the ping pong table. I'm not that blind. So, Al, I'm going to ask you a question. So, what did the Four from Home team and mission mean to you?
Ooh.
Do you want to come on up here?
He's got
So
a great,
Yeah,
everybody-
come
he's
on
got a
up,
great
Al. We got
voice,
a
Al.
mic. Because I'm looking at you and I'm like, wow, look at that handsome dude out there, man. So it was arbitrary. This is what happens at arbitrary moments. All right, next on the mic is my man, Al. Come on, Al, tell that.
Well, I tell you, it's just awesome, number one, to even be associated with these four guys and our community. I was here with probably most of the other crowd here when you were arriving, and when that was just, my heart. I don't know. I didn't know I could love an event so much and respect the four of you, because I was worried to death because you guys, you're 59. Just a little younger than me, a year.
All right, Al, sit down. Sit the frick down.
You shouldn't
Just
have
kidding.
given me the mic, no. But
Just kidding,
I'll
Al.
tell you, it was so great to tell other people that didn't know about this event. I was just down in Lauderdale on a golf trip and telling 12 of my buddies down there that knew nothing about this, and I showed them the videos, and it was like unbelievable. So you just don't know how much, and it's all heartfelt, right? I mean, we're here because we love you guys. We love what you did. We love what this event stands for. And it's just, I'm just so proud of all of you and being part of this island.
I'd like to say what it means.
Now you know why we picked Al.
I came up to
Well, I'm going to jump up here and say what it means to me. What it means is that there are other veterans who are suffering from PTSD will not do what my nephew did and commit suicide. Other veterans who have suffered from PTSD, sorry, I'm nervous, will not be sleeping 1 hour a night alone, scared, and suffering until their heart explodes, like my friend Sandy's son's heart did. The cause is so much greater than the men and than
Amen.
any of us. And I'm so thankful that you guys have done this to raise money and awareness, and I appreciate you very much.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If and I know I'm just throwing this out there arbitrarily, but I see somebody in the audience that I really want to give a shout out to, and Bobby Sala, who's standing back there with his wife Lisa. And there was a moment on New Year's Day, I believe it was, and if people don't know me, I'm a type 1 diabetic, and we were on New Year's Day, and my receiver got completely soaked and stopped working. And I was like, shit, I don't have a freaking receiver. I don't have anything to read my blood sugar. So I frantically called Katie, who just happened to be with somebody who had Bobby's number. And I called Bobby on New Year's Day at midnight, and he answered the phone and talked me through getting my transceiver and my receiver back together, getting it back online. So I couldn't thank him enough for that. So.
Good job, Bobby. Hey, so I'm getting the sense we're coming up to the end. So I'm going to anoint myself skipper again, and
No, you're not.
I'm going to anoint myself skipper again, and I'm going to put two guys on the spot a little bit that are in our audience, because I'm going to let you know. A lot of our mission was about also championing other veterans. And the two guys, I know I'm not even have to look at them and they're going, oh no, they're going to pick on us and they're going to talk on us. But I know these two guys aren't shy either. And I'm not going to ask them to speak or anything. We're just going to highlight and show who they are. But remember, next year the Talisker will go on again. There will be a bunch of boats that will row in the Talisker. There'll be a bunch of teams that will go out. What the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge offers, along with their folks that run it at Atlantic Campaigns, which do a fabulous job, it really is a premier event that allows communities from all over the world, whether it's for Alzheimer's, whether it's for cleaner oceans, veteran suicide, PTSD, whatever the issue may be. It is actually a beautiful flagship event that allows those people to have a passion to use an extreme support to highlight a problem, in our communities. So back by the bathroom, there's two gentlemen. They're actually really good looking too. One of them's Tosh. I know, look at him now. They're all shy. Yeah. Tosh, Brian, raise your hand.
There they are.
So they're two veterans. They are having a team of 4 that's going out next year, and we really love their name.
Hoo-yah, shut up and row.
Shut up and row.
Shut up and friggin' row that boat. So that's them. So along with them, there's another team that's going to be out there. They're called Guardians Initiatives. They're out of New Mexico. They're going to row, and they're rowing for first responder suicide. Then there's going to be another veteran team that's going to be out there, and a lot of you probably already know them in the audience. They're Fight or Die. They are going to be a team that's made up of 4
all Air Force
veterans. So, and they've got some goals, and I'm trying to think if there's another American team that's going out. I thought there was one more. Salty Science goes out the next year in 2023. There are 4 women that are going out for cleaner oceans out of the Tampa area. Yeah. Oh, man, power. Fist up, man. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of folks that rock out in that ocean rowing community, whether they're 18, 21, 70, women, men, mixed, whatever it is. It's a great event to watch. But anyway, the message to end with is those teams go out next year, and we're hoping that you all continue to follow the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge. And we hope that you all just champion, their cause, because those two gentlemen are sitting in the back, and they're quiet now. But what was really nice was when we were doing our row, they were really championing us, all the way. So we hope that you find the same thing. And I'll tell you, you learn a lot too about the overseas. These guys, I already saw, along with Fight or Die, they're connecting with a team called Emotive, which is for veterans from the UK. And they are also rowing for PTSD mental wellness. So it's really kind of like a big global event. Any other last thoughts, guys?
One more thing you need to know about these guys is if you see a rowboat here, it's not us. They're actually, they've picked Fernandina Beach to stage their boat, and they'll be rowing around the area as well.
So this week I'm going to be out on my outrigger canoe eating a 24-foot meatball sub while I'm watching these guys work. And that's going to be a pleasure. That's good.
Ken is going to close us out, and after that, we're going to take a few official pictures, so please give it a few moments before you come up onto the stage. Thank you.
Hey, thanks again. I would like to present each of them with a commemorative coin from the branch of the military and from our community to each one of these guys from Foar from home. So we'll start with Cam, please. Congratulations, buddy. Thank you. Paul, congratulations, man. Hey, buddy.
Thanks. Thank you.
Billy. Congratulations, Billy. Hup, my Navy man. Congratulations, Hup. We're going to drape the flag like they did down in Antigua. It's upside down, honey. There we go.
We'll let it touch the ground.
There you go. Thank you all for coming, everybody, your support.